Buongiorno tutti. The AmWager racing moment of the week. Well, I wanted to try and go outside the box and find something a little bit creative, but I just couldn't find nothing. So I'm gonna go with an obvious one. In the Macho Man Stakes at Gulfstream Park, Commandment, although he didn't run particularly fast, ran impressively, and I think marked himself as a possible Kentucky Derby type horse, or contender at least. We'll talk more about that on the Kentucky Derby Radar episode coming out later this week. But he really didn't get an ideal trip. It worked out for him when he got that seam turning for home and was able to go between horses, which took some guts on his part. But he was behind horses, taking dirt in the face, probably a little bit, behind in an uncomfortable position that he probably would have preferred not to be in. But that's kind of how the race unfolded. I don't think it was really anything that Irad did wrong or just, made a bad call on. I think it was just how the race unfolded. But when he counted, he was loaded. He went between horses. You always like to see that brave sign of guts in a horse that's going to try and compete in a race like the Derby with that big field and the jostling around and bumping around and hooting and hollering that he's going to have to deal with. So Commandment is going to get the AmWager racing moment of the week in a race in a weekend that, with losing Santa Anita and everything else all considered, was not as exciting as it could have been. There was another moment that's going to get honorable mention. Bourbon Bash, coming back off a year plus, I think, 18 months layoff for Steve Asmussen. Used to be trained by the coach, Wayne Lucas, rest in peace. But man, Steve had this horse ready to roll. He came up to the other horses in the stretch from off the pace, under wraps, with Joel Rosario looking as confident as a rider can look on a horse, and he won exactly the same way. So Bourbon Bash really comes back in style, and that gets an honorable mention for the AmWager racing moment of the week. Oh yeah.